What's up, guys? It's Nate here. This is the first video in the Ultimate Marker Showdown series. We're gonna be comparing the Luxe Ice and the die M3. This M3 has the soft tip bolt update, the eye pipe update, and the solenoid housing update. Both of these markers you can find for about anywhere from $600 to $800 used, and brand new they're both sitting right at $1,200. It's February 2019. They're both sitting, exactly in the same range, used and brand new. So this is one I see a lot on the forums. People saying which one should I get, M3S or Plus or whatever, or Luxe Ice. So let's go right into it. The first thing we're gonna talk about is the technology, the electronics. So the die has a much larger OLED screen. You're gonna, set custom boot screens. You can, do all that stuff. There's tons of stuff on this board. It's a really cool board. And then it's got an internal pressure tester, which is also pretty sweet. Well, we'll talk about, it's got wireless charging, so it's got a mat that you just set down the gun on and it charges the battery for you. If you don't have the wireless charger, you don't want to use it if you're, somewhere where you don't have it. It's got a little door on the grips. You just pop this door open, plug your charger in there, and it's charging. So, the M3S charging, the electronics and everything are like top of the line. I think they're probably the best out there. The battery life on the M3, you're talking 4 to 5 days of play. So the battery life is very good on the die markers. The Luxe, definitely not as good of a board. It does do the the talking Luxe thing.
Powering on. Welcome to the battery level 100 firing mode NXL.
Okay, so it does the talking thing, which is kind of cool, I guess. The screen's very bright, very usable, but definitely not as advanced as the die. The charging, it does not have wireless charging, so that's, would be cool. Also, it does not have toolless charging, so you have to remove the 2 grip screws and fold over one side of the grip, and the charging port is in the front of the grip here. So, the charging is definitely not as easy. It's not terribly hard. The battery life on the Luxe Ice, 2 to 3 weekends, or 2 to 3 days of play, in my experience. So the M3 battery seems to last quite a bit longer than the Luxe battery. And the charging is much easier with the M3, even if you don't have the wireless setup. So going from there, the ASAs are, they both function perfectly fine. The Luxe has this lever, no plastic pieces, so that's good. The M3 does have a plastic lever to activate it. They came out with a new ASA. The M3 Plus has like a Pops ASA type system. They call it the Slap ASA, that you can buy and put on the die M2 and M3S. So this one's perfectly fine, especially if you run a low pressure tank. It's very easy to activate, and I've never had a problem with it. But the plastic, I could see breaking potentially, but I've never actually seen it break on my own stuff. The cool thing about the ASA on the die, though, is that in this hole there's a screw. You loosen it, you can slide the ASA back and forth, maybe a ½ inch either way. So you can kind of fine-tune where you want your marker, if you want it close or a little bit farther away. You can set just where you want it and tighten it down. The Luxe doesn't have that adjustability, so. Triggers. So the die trigger is very nice. The grip frame has the ultralight grip frame, so it's very comfortable. The rubber goes all the way around it. You can lock your hand in there nicely because of the hourglass shape, the ultralight frame. Trigger is nice. It's a little bit difficult to get adjusted right where you want it. The adjustment points or the adjustments are a little bit weird. I don't like the trigger guard is a little bit smaller. So my fat fingers hit this bottom piece because of this angle upward here. They actually hit this bottom piece when I'm trying to walk the trigger sometimes. But the trigger is very good, very usable. Magnetic return, lots of adjustments, just a little bit more difficult to adjust. The Luxe, very easy to adjust. Magnetic return, lots of room in here. Does have a slight hourglass shape, but not like the M3, and also it's metal on the back. I prefer the trigger on the Luxe much more. That's just my preference. Moving forward, the Regulator. The Regulator maintenance is much easier on the die. On the Luxe, you have to take this bottom regulator nut out, take the regulator out, 2 set screws that I see people strip all the time, and you have to line them up just right when you're taking it apart, putting it back together. The M3, you just take like a quarter and stick it in these slots. It's hard to get that lighting right. These slots on the bottom here, you just unscrew it with a quarter or a nickel or whatever, clean and lube it, slap it all back in, use your quarter to tighten it back up, and it's good to go. So the M3 maintenance on the Regulator is much easier. The front grips, the M3 does give you a lot of room here. It's all rubberized, pretty comfortable, nice, quality. Front grip there comes off very easily. You never really have to take this off just to maybe clean it, but it does come off easily. Clips in easily. So the Luxe is a metal front grip. It's got these ribs for your fingers. I actually prefer the metal myself, but they do make a rubberized front grip piece for the Luxe Ice that just replaces this blue part right here. So it's cool that you get the option with the Luxe. Eyes. So the eyes on the Luxe are easy to clean. Both eyes function perfectly fine. There's no issues with the actual eyes. The eye covers come off. There's a little lever here. Push up on it. You can pop the eye cover off. Do all your cleaning and replace the detents if you have to. The detent's actually in the cover. No issues there. Very simple system. Very effective. The die, you have to take the barrel off. Not a big deal. Again, if you're cleaning your gun, you probably already have the barrel off anyway. Then there's an eye pipe, so you never actually have to clean the actual eyes. This plastic clear pipe covers the eyes, and so if there's ever an eye malfunction, usually there's paint built up inside here from breaking paint or whatever. You just take a microfiber or a clean swab and swab it out. The detents just clip onto the outside of the eye pipe right here. Very simple system. Both systems are very easy to work on and use. I wouldn't prefer one over the other, I don't think. So, let's see. The next thing we'll talk about, barrels. So the stock barrel with the M3 is a die UL, standard. They did change the porting and the milling a little bit on the tip, but it's pretty much a standard die UL barrel if you've ever used one on anything else. 6-inch control bore, maybe 6.5, whatever. Standard length control bore. Brand new, comes with a 688 and a 684, so 2 options. Good quality barrel. Functions well. The Luxe has the standard Freak barrel system, so the 5 or 6-inch inserts or whatever, control bores. You get 2 with it brand new. I think it's like a 687 and a 691. So both stock for stock, right out of the package, brand new, pretty even. where the Luxe shines is that you can get, there's more options for insert sizes, and also the inserts are like $5 to $10 a piece. So it's much cheaper, and there's more options for bore sizes with the Freak system as opposed to the Diul. There's only 4 options for the bore size as far as I know. There's a 680, 684, 688, and 690. And if you want to try to use the die barrel system, you're talking like brand new $40 to $50 per barrel back, and used at least, I would say, $25 for a barrel back. So the Freak system wins in my opinion, just because you can expand it much easier. So I shoot an XL barrel on both of these guns, so they both function, the XL barrel shoots well on both these guns. It's actually a tip that converts the stock barrel into XL compatible inserts. And this is the standard Freak XL barrel that I shoot on this most of the time. So, with barrels, the feed necks are almost identical. Thumb screw, big lever, thumb screw, big lever. Both of them function flawlessly. They're both great. Ergonomically, the M3 is a little bit more compact feeling. So, it's a little bit tighter feeling. If you're a smaller guy, if you're playing down in the snake or playing super tight, the M3 is a little bit more comfortable to, really get tight with. Not that it's too small or anything. Again, there's plenty of room to hold it however you want to. But yeah, it's definitely more compact feeling. The Luxe might be better for bigger guys like me. I prefer the Luxe a little bit ergonomically. It's a little bit more stretched out feeling. It's great for running and gunning. It's great for laning. It's nice and stretched out. And again, there's more room in the trigger guard area. Better for bigger hands probably like mine. So the last thing I want to talk about is the bolt system. So pull these bad boys out, both toolless, very easy to remove. Boom. So there's the Luxe and the M3 bolt systems. I'm not going to take them apart or anything in this video. Maybe at the conclusion video I'll do some maintenance, but both very easy to maintain. Shot quality on the M3 is going to be a little bit snappier than the Luxe. However, still very soft and smooth shooting compared to a lot of the newer markers like the CS2. The M3 is much smoother and quieter. Efficiency-wise, the M3, you're talking like 1,400 to 1,500 shots on a 77-45 tank full, which is pretty good for a spool valve. The Luxe, you're talking about 1,200 shots, maybe 1,300 shots out of a 77-45, so about 200 balls less out of the Luxe in a single tank fill. That's an extra pod and some change. That's an extra pod and some change. Not a huge difference as far as, you're still shooting 9 plus pods out of each marker with a 77 tank. But the M3 does have a little bit better efficiency if that's something that concerns you. The Luxe has the ice coating, and it's very reminiscent of any other Luxe or Vanquish bolt system. The ice coating and the spring assist is supposed to help with bolt stick and cold weather performance. However, this bolt system is plagued a little bit with bolt stick in the very cold weather. Even the ice might get, it's much improved. It's still it's usable at least in the cold weather, but you still might get a first shot drop off or something like that. The M3 in cold weather, I was shooting it when it was like 50 degrees below zero outside. No issues with it whatsoever. So the M3 I think probably is a little bit more reliable and usable in cold weather. So that's it for the first video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.